Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Still I Rise podcast. I'm your host, Lisa McKenzie, founder of Unite Empowering Events. I am so honored to be here today with you as we introduce you to some amazing everyday heroes who will be sharing their inspiring stories of how they persevered after a life-altering event. The stories that we are sharing come from a unique narrative therapy program we created called Story Crafting. It's a small group 6-week experience that challenges participants to revisit a time in their life when life changed. Yes, you will hear about their hardships, but you will also hear how these amazing individuals persevered and found silver linings. Many of our participants are nervous to share, and they know they're being vulnerable with you, but they each said that they wanted to share because it's their hope that maybe their stories will inspire others and help somebody else persevere also. I'm joined by my amazing co-host, Debbie Tongi, who is our program director, and we can't wait for you to meet our story crafters. Thank you for tuning in. Please share this podcast with others.
My name is Katelyn Crochet, and this is my story. I was diagnosed with Hodgkin's lymphoma in January of 2011. I had chemo from January to May of 2011, and then I had radiation every day for a month. I was treated at Slidell Memorial Hospital Cancer Center, and I would like to give a huge shout out to Dr. McElvin. I wouldn't be here today if it wasn't for him and his awesome staff over there. I would like to thank, of course, my parents first. If they weren't there for me like they were, I wouldn't be here today. Of course, my awesome husband. He was my boyfriend at the time, now husband, but he stuck it out with me the entire time, and here we are. And of course, the friends who were there for me through everything. Thank you. I learned about myself that I had a very strong inner strength that I didn't know was there until I went through cancer, and it made me realize that take every day slowly and one day at a time. My advice to anyone battling cancer is to know that you have the strength to get through it and you can do this.
Hi, everybody. I'm here with Katelyn Crochet. Am I pronouncing that right?
Yes.
And you joined the Unite program in 2023, January. And how has it been going? How has your experience been with all of these ladies?
I really love it. It's nice to experience this with people who understand what I've gone through and can have like-minded opinions and advice and help and be there for me.
How did you find out about Unite?
A friend of mine, Abby Lewis, she did this last year, I believe, and she suggested that I should try it out, and so I did.
Yes, and like Abby, you guys are both young. How young were you when you were diagnosed with Hodgkin's lymphoma, right?
Correct. Yes, I was 19 years old.
And do you mind if I ask how old you are now?
I am 31.
And so is it safe to say that you are no evidence of disease? Or are you still battling? I mean, what is your current physical status?
I've been in remission since 2011, and I'm doing great.
Oh, that's great. Music to our ears to hear that. Well, we brought you in because you've been part of our story crafting experience as well as SCART and some other things. We are an emotional healing program for people to sort of find a path forward after diagnosis. But some people come into our program feeling pretty good. So on a scale of 1 to 5, with 1 being not great and 5 being great, we asked everybody to rate themselves when you first signed up, and you were a 5, which is wonderful. I don't know if you remember writing that, but does that pretty much explain how you feel currently about, I guess how this has all affected your life and your attitude and your health, your heart?
Yes, definitely still a 5. I'm doing wonderful, and this has really helped me deal with my diagnosis and going through cancer. I kind of feel like I blocked it out for a long time, but I'm dealing, and I have great people to do that with.
So what's it like sharing everything out loud? Are you okay with that, being vulnerable to the outside world?
A little nervous, but I can handle it.
Hi, Katelyn. This is Deborah Tongi. I'm the program director at Unite, and I'm just so happy to have you here to complete the second program in the Runway program, which is the story crafting. That's something that you just did. One of the assignments in story crafting, the very first one, is for you to identify a challenge that you want to write about. Sometimes people write about their cancer, sometimes they write about a life challenge. What did you choose to write about in terms of your challenge?
I chose to write about my cancer.
Okay, good. And we're glad that you did, because we don't always have Hodgkin's lymphoma people in our organization, but I think it's important for you to get this message out. The second really fun part of the story crafting is that you have to identify a metaphor for your story, a symbol of how you would describe what you're writing about. And what did you choose?
I chose a hamster wheel.
I think that's kind of a fun visual image. I think we all know what a hamster wheel looks like. Yeah. So without further ado, I'm going to give you Katelyn Crochet, and she is going to be reading her story, Jumping Off the Hamster Wheel.
Can you imagine the life of an 18-year-old? Yep, that is how mine was. I was a carefree 18-year-old who had just met and started dating a new guy. I was freshly out of high school with the intent to take a break from school life and start college in the spring. I was not really doing anything exciting besides just living life like any 19-year-old, heavy on the carefree, doing whatever I wanted. Life was simple, easy, fun. Life changed quick. The words, "You have cancer," shook me, and my whole world flipped upside down as I sat in the doctor's office room with my parents and boyfriend. Honestly, it also changed it for the better. It took me a minute, but I realized then I had the biggest fight of my life on my hands, and I knew I had to fight with everything in me. I was not losing, and I was going all in. I also realized that life would be different, but it was also opening my eyes to things I did not really realize before. You know, the 19-year-old carefree mentality. My mind felt like a hamster wheel. It just kept spinning and spinning with no end in sight. I could not stop thinking about what was going to happen. Will I be okay? One day I will slowly get off the hamster wheel, begin to process and heal. I was scared. I felt like my whole world had crumbled in front of me. I thought to myself, I'm definitely going to die, because let's face it, at 19 you think a cancer diagnosis is a death sentence. I just sat and cried in the room with my parents and boyfriend of 6 months because I wasn't sure what the rest of my life would look like. I was 19. It was scary as hell to hear those words and not know what it meant and what moving forward would even look like for me. It hit me. It was time to let the small things go, live in the moment, give life your all, and enjoy everything, the good and the bad. After the shock, the plan of action in place, it was time to move forward, pick up the pieces, if you will. I was mostly self-inspired to positively fight the big C word, but there was one more attribution to my fight. A beautiful person sent straight into my path. I met a wonderful lady, Leslie Dame, who was fighting stage 4 breast cancer, but she was such a positive light in my life from the moment I met her. She gave me even more inspiration to fight hard and to always have a positive attitude no matter what happened. She was a ray of sunshine in my life. There are some words of wisdom I want to share after my experiences thus far in life. Even amid tragedy and uncertainty, you can conquer the battle in front of you. Although sometimes it seems impossible at moments, it is possible. Fight with everything you have, remain positive, and give it all you've got. Remember why you are fighting and push forward. There may be some hiccups, but those can't and won't stop you. Life is short, never be afraid to take chances and live life like there is no tomorrow. Be courageous. I want others to know that there is hope. The boyfriend I mentioned at the beginning of my story, I am happily married to him with 2 beautiful kids. I am thankful to be off the hamster wheel for the most part. The strength I had to fight and the encouragement from my now husband and 2 beautiful children helped me stay off that hamster wheel and live life to the fullest. Cancer will always be part of me and never goes away, but being able to step off the wheel is a blessing. There are so many people, family, friends, doctors, hospitals, and so much more to thank. I wouldn't be where I am today without my parents. My mom never left my side. She sat next to me weekly for treatments. My dad, the food go-getter during long treatment days. My now husband for being my rock and waking with me at all hours of the night to make sure I took my meds to prevent being sick. The many of friends who stood by my side, Dr. McElvin for being the absolute best doctor to a scared young girl, and of course everyone at Sodom Memorial Cancer Center. I am forever thankful to all of you for every single thing.
Thank you so much for sharing that story and for really showing us what it's like to what it's like for a 19-year-old, a vulnerable young girl, to have to face something so serious. Here in Unite, we have had another young woman who's, was diagnosed very young too. And I think what we learn is just how resilient you are when you're young.
Yeah.
And the fact that your boyfriend hung in there and became your husband, and now you have these two beautiful children.
Definitely.
Are you still on the hamster wheel?
I would say no.
No, you're not. You're not on the hamster wheel anymore, but I can see how that's what it would feel like to a young, energetic girl who just had a life-changing event.
Yeah,
So
definitely.
Thank you so much for sharing your story with us today.
Thank you.